Hi everybody, it's me, Miss Jessica Lahore, and we're back with another Jess Talk. And today we are speaking on what I like to call diva moments, when the ego gets in the way. But before we get into this diva-licious Jess Talk today, make sure that you've done your duty. You have subscribed to my channel, you've hit that bell for notifications, and you are listening and streaming on all of our platforms, Spotify, Apple Music, and more, because these Jess Talks are getting hot. Okay, diva moments, let's get into it.
Attention the whore, attention the whore, attention the whore, attention. Here I am walking down the street, seeing all the boys trying to take a peek. Shorts pulled up and chest out right. Come on boys, just take a bite. Look but don't touch, spin it round and round. Crazy.
So let's preface, when I say diva moment, what a diva moment really is. This is kind of like a nice way of describing a catty, I think I'm the biggest, baddest bitch moment. And this diva moment can come up as like, this is your personality. Your personality is just one singular diva moment, and it's just everything that you are is being a diva. It could be like a moment where you have to stand up for yourself a little bit more, and it makes you seem a little bit more assertive or entitled to something. A diva moment can be delusional as well. A diva moment can be an instance where you let notoriety or fame or an opportunity get in the way of reality and business. So it's kind of a nice way of describing instances where you're being a little extra, is really what a diva moment is. So you have divas like Mariah Carey,
I don't know her.
Beyonce, have divas in the pop world, in like the Real Housewives world. There are divas everywhere, okay? And there's so many different extremes to that. If I'm thinking about how it applies to the drag world, there are some bitches that think that they are like the Real Housewives of Belgium. I don't even know if that's a season. But it's that idea that nobody can touch you. No, like you have no consequences for your actions. You can say what you want, do what you want. Oh, I can just buy that. I can buy you. A diva moment being like, this is my lifestyle as being a diva, okay? I don't need anyone's permission to do anything or say anything. Do you know who I am? My face is my ID. I don't pay with credit cards. I have people do that for me. Like, there's a diva attitude that I think everybody should have in different instances, because without this inner diva, you will get walked all over in life in so many different situations. So when I think of divas and I think about like putting in your dues, Mariah Carey is a great example of being somebody that worked in the industry, has iconically claimed her persona, her music, her talents. She's been in the business long enough that you give her a little bit of flexibility on her diva moments. You know she's going to stop a show to have her glam team come in and touch her up. You know that if she doesn't want to sing something, or if she doesn't want to step down from something, or she doesn't feel like it, she doesn't have to. And people will give her the grace because she's an iconic diva. That's like getting to that status. It's really hard to get to that status. Then you have people in that same realm of like notoriety, and let's look at like a diva moment like Madonna, okay? Who can do the same things, claim what she wants to, empowerment, but then when you choose to use your divaness to like not start your show on time and you're like 2 to 3 hours late, that's a diva moment because she can do it, and essentially in her head she's saying, well, if they want to see me, they'll wait to see me. And that's where I'm like, no, can't do that. That's too much for me. Now let's bring it down to like a normal level playing field at the drag realm. Diva moments can be really difficult, especially when you're not friends with the entertainer. In the drag world, I would say that when you notice somebody having a diva moment, your tolerance and your patience is significantly less than if you're with your drag family or your really close drag friends and you have one of these. And they can say, oh, that's like really out of character for Jessica, but I know her and obviously she was passionate about this. Diva moments usually are filled in the boiled down sense with passion for whatever you're speaking on. Most of the time. Now, let's talk about it. So I could have a diva moment where somebody invites me to a show and I show up to the venue and I'm like,
I need my own personal dressing room. I don't want to be in the room with anybody else. I need this type of snack, this type of drink, and I will accept nothing less. I'm a diva, so I'm choosing not to do meet and greet just because I said so. I'm a diva, and I don't have to do 2 numbers, so I'm just deciding now that I'll perform 1 song because I feel like it.
there are some diva moments that really frustrate me when there's a lack of flexibility with what is happening. You don't know every venue, you don't know every setup. Being a little bit understanding to the accommodations that people are willing to go out of their way is one thing. If people are willing to go out of their way to make sure you have the best experience and you're being a diva at the cost of them financially, at the risk of taking what they're offering for granted, that's when it really isn't okay with me. And I've met drag race girls, I've met Dragula girls, local entertainers that cross this line of being so diva oriented with their demands, what they think they want, what they say they require to make this possible, that are not something, it's not something I resonate with. I'm just gonna put it out there. I'm trying to like tiptoe a little bit without calling people out. Okay, I'm trying to be a good Jessica for this Jess talk. I want to make it clear that having a list of demands and needs isn't wrong. Okay, that's part of being in this industry. And if people are requesting your services and you are of a bigger name, you can kind of put out some different demands or wants or needs. Everybody should get what they're worth. Everyone should be treated fairly. Everyone should be accommodated and taken care of and hosted properly as well. It doesn't happen all the time. Your flexibility could give some grace to that venue, but when your inner diva comes out and you pop off, it's uncomfortable as hell. It's not fun for anybody. And I've been in that situation. I have had many a diva moment that I had to rethink that moment after I popped off. Maybe I was hungry that day. I don't know. And I had to go back to the person and say, hey, I recognize my tone, the language that I use, the way that I approach this problem or situation, and I shouldn't have done it this way. Being a diva is great, but if you have no acknowledgement of accountability of what you're saying and how you're saying it and how you're making others feel, I think that that's where the diva can, like, we're tired of you. We'll just find somebody easier to work with. And I've met those people where nothing you can do will please them. Their attitude is sour. Their energy is toxic. They're exuding anger and negativity and better than you energy, which is really frustrating. And there's no accommodating this person. I've also met people that have done the same thing as me. They come back later and they're like, hey, I should not have acted that way at the show. I actually had these other things in life going on. I was in my head. This is how I felt, and I could have approached this differently. I give mad respects to any bitch that can clock herself in a diva moment and say, hey, I was a little bit too much. I'm sorry.
Mama, kudos for saying that, for spilling, like, seriously.
I'm not in any way in this Jess Talk trying to control people's actions, reactions, or attitudes. What I'm trying to in this Jess Talk is explain that there are different perceptions of why and how you say things in your diva moment, in your ego moment. If you're sitting there and your statements are fueled by thinking that you're better than them, that you're too good for this, that you deserve this more than somebody else, that your fame or your status in the world entitles you to this, that is the first thing that will drive you out of a show that I'm producing. It frustrates me When you're at a show, no matter what level, caliber, or anything, you're there for a reason, and you need to work with the people that you're working with, even if you do not like them or you do think that. Keep some of those diva moments just in your head. You don't need to share them with people. They're unnecessary. I've lost job opportunities for being a diva. I've lost promotions for being a diva. And I have apologized. I've clocked myself. I feel like sometimes a lot of my energy is misconstrued for being a diva. Jessica Lahore definitely gets a reputation of being so business oriented or so strict or to the book of what she wants that people take that as being cunty, dismissive, too good for, won't acknowledge anybody else. And if you know me, if you genuinely know me, my goals are so focused when I walk into that show or rush into that show that until I check off the things that I need to do, I don't think I can release myself or my mind into the show experience to have fun. It's not me being a diva. It's just that I know what I need to do. I know my routine before we get started for today. I have fired people for being a diva and just bringing in nasty energy, for being rude and disrespectful to the staff. Ooh, I have yelled at performers for being disrespectful to the staff. I've yelled at audience members for being disrespectful to the staff. Diva could be confused as a Karen, for sure. It's just one aura of diva energy is being a Karen, where you have to complain about everything and be negative about everything and can't stand it. Cannot stand it. I do think that having that inner diva, like I said, is really important in this industry and in any world to not be taken advantage of. Sometimes you need to use that diva to say, why aren't we getting paid fairly? Why have we not had any pay increases for years and years and years and years? And it's hard in this industry because sometimes when you step your voice up or you have those diva moments, even if they're not aggressive or intense, people respond by saying, oh, well, we don't need you. And that can trigger somebody to act even more out because they're like, what do you mean you don't need me kind of thing? Like, I'll show you. Sometimes that is a good fuel for the fire to really find your passion and what you're capable of doing. But standing up for cast members, when you see something that's not done correctly at a show or inappropriately at a show, pay. If people are taking advantage of you, if venues are trying to walk all over you and change show dates or producing different events at different times at their own whim and they're not really acknowledging or considering you, canceling your events without acknowledging you or considering you, I do think it's important to step up your diva voice. For example, I was invited to do a festival in Denver probably a couple of years ago. And I was booked. I have the confirmation. I had my booking fee down. I knew the date and time. And as we're approaching about 2 weeks out, I'm like, hey, I haven't gotten any promotions yet for this event. I just want to make sure we're all good to go. And they respond with, oh, we decided to go in a different direction. That shit pisses me off. Not that they went in a different direction. I'm one of many drag artists in this world. What pisses me off is there was no consideration for my time, for my value, for my name, and the way that I schedule. You now are telling me 2 weeks out that you're not going to have me for an event that I have confirmation for that we're booked. And here's the kicker. It's because somebody was willing to do it at a cheaper price. Which is, again, totally fine. But you can't go back on a booking without any communication. And so I called it out. I said, this is disrespectful. I want you to know you've wasted my time. I have the confirmation here. I even made it very clear that I was flexible on my rate because I wanted to make sure the event was good for both parties. And the lack of consideration to bring me into the conversation about booking somebody else is rude and disrespectful. And I want you to know that. Like, I just need to get this out and I'll say it. And when you have diva moments over text, email, chat, Instagram, tone is interpreted however they want. Me saying simple statements like that doesn't have to be fueled by anger or resentment or frustration. It can mean just saying, I don't have time to beat around the bush. Let me just call it how I see it. But on the opposite end, I know for a fact they're sitting there saying, wow, she's a really big diva. I don't want to work with her anyway. Frustrating. Here's the kicker about that specific event. The day before, the entertainers that were booked canceled. And who did they call to fill in last minute? Me. And what did I do? I refused to do the event, and I offered to charge them if they wanted me to book out their event for them the day before. I said, I'm not available. Once you canceled our agreement, I went and found other work. I'm sorry, I can't make it. And they're like, well, we don't know any other drag artists right now. Like, we're really trying to find somebody last minute. I said, I'm happy to produce this event or this part of the show for you, but I'll have to charge you now. And it's the day before, so I'll charge you more. Oh no, we don't want to do that. We don't want to do that. Well, then I'm not going to help you. You're not going to waste my time again. That is, to many people, if you're sitting and watching, you're like, wow, that's a diva move. You should have just offered to help them. And in my head, we're past that. I'll give favors. I will give my services, my expertise to anybody that's willing to treat my time with respect. That's really what it comes down to. I've been in the presence of some really amazing diva moments where show producers have fought for the mistreatment of staff against the entertainers in the show, saying your staff refuses to serve our entertainers, you're not providing us a space to get ready like you promised, it's dirty, it's filthy, you're disrespectful to me, you're tokenizing our cast, whatever. I've been in the presence of people standing up for them, and it made me really empowered and reminded that if a venue is responding to your diva moment for effective change with considerable information, you maybe are better off without that venue. And you can watch them figure it out on their own. Yes, the biggest thing of saying you are replaceable in this moment is hard to hear, especially if you're a diva. Because you're like,
nobody can replace me. I'm the best one that ever existed.
And that's the delusion. Divas come with delusion, and you need a little bit of delusion to be successful, because at the end of the day, and it boils down to it, you have to be your biggest fan. And you have to support the feelings, the thoughts, and the actions of you being the biggest fan of yourself. And sometimes that comes with positive and constructive diva moments. One of my biggest diva moments happened when Jessica Lahore has abandonment issues, okay? So she takes a lot of pride in her job because I claim it, it's mine, it's something that I put a lot of time into, and when other people do things, I usually feel internally like I'm not doing my job effectively, and I get defensive and I want to prove something, and I feel excluded. Again, I hate being excluded for those reasons. So Jessica, without naming a venue, I mean, you can figure it out from this video, I'm pretty sure, was demoted from a position at this venue because she got in her head and her feelings of not being included or seen as a core important piece of this business that she had invested lots of time into and energy and talents into over many, many years, and popped off at one of the managers, diva moment, very much direct, aggressive, kind of fuck you-ish energy. And regardless of my feelings of how that was handled and how I think the progression of that, if you're going to choose to have a diva moment for any reason, as much as I hate to say it, you should be prepared for any outcome. And that includes them hearing you out and making effective change to getting fired, demoted, canceled, whatever, because you chose to spout off. So in that particular case, we never talked about it. We never addressed the situation. We never spoke on it. I never got a chance to apologize because before I could even get to that point, I was immediately demoted. And the inner diva in me had two options when I was demoted. One, I can pop off again for demoting me, which would probably result in me getting fired and never working with them again. Or I bite my tongue, It already happened, and I leave it how it is, and I learn from it from the next time. And that's what we chose to do. Sometimes the diva moments aren't as big of a deal as we make them out to be. Sometimes they're bigger than people interpret them to be. I've been in casts where there was obvious racist shit going on, obvious fat-phobic shit, very misogynistic behavior towards artists in the cast. And those are moments that I would rather get fired for or not work at that venue anymore or choose to step away entirely than to continue to produce a show. And I can't control everyone's thoughts and everyone's feelings and opinions or get the word out to everyone. Everyone's going to make their own choices, but I can effectively make that switch for myself. And I've done that. I've proven that. I really have. I hate being put in situations like that, but I can't support a venue that very prominently or an industry or a conversation that is geared around those topics and obviously is not creating a safe space for anybody but white cis men in wigs. Make it make sense. One time that I diva'd online was during COVID. We had masks as performers that we had to wear. And granted, everyone had a little bit extra time on their hands during COVID era to just get into online arguments and start shit. And that was never my intention. But it was actively frustrating to me that we were having, health code people come into shows at other venues watching what we're doing and the masks that we're using and how we're interacting with people. And it seemed like nobody else cared, or very few people cared about that being a possibility to the venues that they worked for. And those stupid little chin, your little spot here, and it comes up, it's like this. This is the mask. What does this do? I was very, very triggered by people wearing shields and masks at the time when that was not recommended. We called it Maskgate, Jessica's Maskgate, because it started a whole internet blow up here in Colorado. And I'm sitting there saying, like, I'm divaing because I'm telling you, I don't care what you wear mask-wise, but your whole face should be covered. I get it's not comfortable, but that's the whole point of us getting the privilege to perform while this is happening. Yeah, your makeup's going to get fucked up, but that is what we have to do right now. So it would be frustrating for me to see people not in there. So I took it upon myself to diva and post online and say, all you bitches wearing these stupid shields that don't do anything, you need to stop and put an actual mask on your face while you're performing. It did not go well. It did not go well. Many people did not care. They laughed at it. They did what they wanted to anyway. Any show that I was in, I required people to wear full masks. So I diva'd for what I thought was the betterment. In reality, I should have just left it alone and did my own shit, minded my business. But I got into that world, that conversation, and it went way too extreme. It got significantly out of hand for just being about masks and mask conversations and regulations and the amount of people I had to fight with. So that was a time. I have unfriended, muted, and blocked people for divaing unnecessarily about petty shit, and they'll be like,
This person said I was the meanie poopy pants at the dressing room, and you should never book them again.
I'm probably never going to book you again because that was dumb. I can't do a diva who thinks that they're too good to reach out for a booking, a diva who thinks they're too good to perform for certain entertainers, a diva who thinks that they're too good to perform for a certain financial piece. Saying no because you're not getting paid what you want is different than being like, only $25? Girl, like, I wipe my ass with your $25. I hate that attitude. Just say, hey, no thank you, I'm not available, and move it on. It's like pointing it out, and sometimes the person that is offering you that has nothing else to offer. So just say no thank you and continue on with your business. Yeah, there's so many times I feel like I've diva'd and it was unnecessary. And there's been times that I've made changes. Like I said, I've diva'd for fair pay or pay increases. at the risk of losing my own job, and thankfully I've never lost my job from these conversations, but I have helped to bring up the minimum drag wage in Colorado. I've been a very active proponent of making that happen. Raising booking fees, taking away tip spots, creating opportunities, doing open showcases, finding new ways to raise the economy with hard conversations, and at the risk of possibly losing my job. And that's divaing for good, divaing for benefits for artists, being like the bare minimum of what we deserve to be treated with and respected for. I diva a lot when it comes to large events and what we discuss. I'm very meticulous in the conversations, and of course I'm flexible, but if I get to the event and then you're like, oh, by the way, we want to add, have you do 3 more numbers, and we're going to have you do this and do that, and the conversation usually goes, well, I'm happy to do these additional things that we didn't discuss now, but it's going to be an increase of this much. Well, no, it's just part of that whole thing. No, it's not. It's not. We didn't agree on that. That's not what we decided. That's not how this is going to work. Of course, I'm flexible and I want to make this event great for you, but we've talked many times to make sure that we were on the same page for today. Overall, there is a lot of power and a lot of responsibility in being a diva. I think you will not be successful without having a little fire in your soul that brings the diva out. Okay, but I can tell you, if that flame is too big, it will come to bite you in the ass. I guarantee you. Have the strength to be a diva for good, stand up for yourself, hold yourself accountable when your diva moments come out, because you're human. It happens. Our attitudes get in the way in life and in the drag world. But I encourage you to really think about what your purpose and what your end goal is for this diva moment. Are you affecting positively yourself, the event, or the people involved, the greater good? Or are you divaing because your feelings got hurt? And you want them to hurt the way that you're hurting. And sometimes those ego diva moments come out because your ego has been punctured and you feel frustrated and less valued or forgotten or abandoned, whatever your issues are internally. And I'm not saying it's okay, but you're human. But know when to reel it back in, because you'll build a longevity of rapport with artists, venues, companies, and any place that you work in any way, shape, or form in the drag world, at least, by leveling out your diva and really bringing her out when it matters. Tell me down below, what are some of the most interesting diva moments that you've had in your life? And or maybe you just are a diva cunt bitch to begin with. I don't know. All right, we'll see you next time for your next Jess Talk. Bye.
I'm an intentional whore. Can't help it, bitch. I'm an intentional whore.